1, 2, 3.
I can hear you. Health Solutions with Shawn and Janet Needham. Go ahead, Joy, talk.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me?
I think we can live with that, Jack. Okay, we're gonna get the show. We're gonna get the show on the road, and then no, we're down. We're Fox way down, and process way up. So I don't have to buy more stuff. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get the show on, and then I'll give you a call when we get done. Yeah. Okay, thanks, buddy. Appreciate you.
Janet, let me see our video. Let me see how Joy and I look in this. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Hello and welcome to Health Solutions with Shawn and Janet Needham, where Team Needham discuss everything healthcare. I am your host, Shawn Needham, along with my wife and producer, Janet. And today in the studio, we have Joy Howard with Turn Back Time with Joy. She's going to tell us about her story. It's an awesome story. I learned a lot this morning or this afternoon about it already. And thank you, viewers and listeners, for hanging in there. We had some technical difficulties, and as you guys may know with a live show, or may not know with a live show, sometimes that stuff happens. And the great thing is we have the awesome Dale Roth at the helm, and that guy can troubleshoot anything, let me tell you, all right? It was really, really cool. So, and speaking of that, we are streaming live at the AM 1470 KBSN studio in Moses Lake, and we would love for you to be part of the show. It looks like a few minutes ago, while we were troubleshooting some issues, we had some callers. We'd love for you to call back, 509-765-1470, and we'd love to answer all your questions. So I'm going to introduce Joy really quick because I want to tell you a little bit about Joy, and I use her as an example all the time. If you look at her, she is a beautiful woman. She is 76 years old. She told me it's okay to say her age, and it's something that she should be very, very, very proud of. So she's going to teach us what she's done to help stay young, and it's really. I was talking to her before the show, and some things that we take for granted, not everybody knows about. So that is what she's going to discuss, and with that, she's going to start her story, and I'm going to turn it over to her. So Joy, have at it. And welcome to the show, by the way.
Thank you so very much.
You're welcome.
Well, actually, a few years ago, I was taking an English class, and I wrote a story about my fitness journey. And so I thought that I would share that with the audience, and because it's much easier. A writer can write where it's not so easy to speak sometimes. So anyway, I call my journey from Flabby to Fit. I was 40 years old the first time I dragged my tired, unfit body into an aerobics class. It was 1983, and Jane Fonda had been yelling, "Go for the burn," for several years. I was a good reader. I'd read her book 10 times. I was a good watcher. I even had her videos and watched them daily. I wasn't very good at doing. My arms and legs just didn't want to cooperate with what my brain told them to do. Misuncoordinated was one of my husband's favorite words for me. So it was with much fear and trepidation that I made the decision to haul my weak, shaky legs up the long flight of stairs to the upstairs place. It was an aerobic studio that was perched on top of the second floor over the cable company in our little desert town. Knowing that fashion was very important even in the aerobic world, I had shopped for weeks preparing for the day. Finally, when I realized that I couldn't put it off any longer, and I wasn't getting any closer to my dream body by staying home, I shyly ventured out into the world of the young and the beautiful. Adorned in my new striped leotard, my matching leg warmers, and shiny tights, I stood inside the door of the aerobic room, quaking in my new factory-fresh Reeboks. What I saw warmed my heart and scared me to death at the same time. For there, clustered in the middle of the room, was an assortment of bodies to die for. Some I'd have died to have, others I'd have died if I had them. I swallowed hard and plunged right into the middle of the group. Well, really, sort of on the outskirts. No, actually, I found a spot at the right back corner and I made my beeline for it, and that's when the music began and my life changed forever. Today, I'm an instructor. I've instructed thousands of exercise classes. I understand when people feel awkward and uncoordinated, and when it comes to taking an aerobics class, because I've been there and I've done that, I know how it feels. And now I not only teach aerobics, but I do personal training and health coaching as well. I'm still healthy and fit because I ventured out when I was afraid, and I was tenacious, even when I felt like giving up. 37 years later, I can assure you that I didn't give up, and it's a story that I never quit telling. After that first day of aerobics, I trembled my way down the stairs, but this time my legs were shaking from fatigue instead of fear. I actually felt pretty good considering what I've been through. The next day, though, it wasn't fear or fatigue that made it hard for me to get those stairs. It was my sore, aching muscles. I hurt, but I wouldn't have missed that class for anything because somewhere between the leg lifts and the jumping jacks, I discovered I loved it. You see, wonders of wonders, I had an instructor who was fun, caring, and showed different levels because instructors make a whole world of difference.
Absolutely.
And motivating uncertain people like I was. JoJo didn't throw a bunch of fancy, difficult moves at me. She took one step at a time, and she simplified the whole routine, and I found that I could do it. Soon I became the strongest member of one of the members of the class, and I was going there every single day, rain or shine. I don't care. I showed up.
Good
and yes.
Awesome.
I found out early that consistency is one of the most important keys to fitness.
And life.
And life. That's exactly right. In those early 80s, when I got serious about exercise, so did half the nation. With everyone jumping on the aerobic bandwagon, it was soon evident that somebody had to take control of the situation. The aerobic industry, as we know it today, was just getting ready to take its first wobbly baby steps. And I, unknowingly, was along for the ride. Jumping was so much fun, it seemed like everyone either limped or smelled like liniment or sported a ace bandage somewhere. People's ankles and knees ached, their feet were blistered, their backs were sore, and everyone had had shin splints at least once. With all the injuries, it wasn't surprising that when low-impact aerobics hit the scene, it stayed. I hated it. I learned to love running and bouncing, so when the instructor came back from an aerobic convention and said the jumping was out, I was mad. Classes were now doomed to squatting and using your muscles in slow, labored rhythmic moves and with weights to boot.
I love it. Resistance training.
Well, I may have hated it, but my body loved it. I could see a difference right away. I learned that consistency may be the key to fitness, but correctness makes it show. Taking a basic move and perfecting it, doing it right every single time, not only took inches off my hips and helped flatten my tummy, but it firmed me up in places that nobody else could see. Consistency, along with correctness, turned the handle and opened the door to a whole new world of fitness for me. That door was just beginning to open when JoJo handed me a book one day, and it was Colbert Bailey's book, Fit or Fat. I took that book home, and I devoured it like a big, juicy hamburger. I learned a lot from that book, and one of the most important things was I didn't have to stop eating. What a relief! I discovered all I had to do was change what I was eating. I had to cut out the gravies, the sauces, the fats, and add plenty of fresh fruits and vegetables and grains.
Right.
And I found out calories were not necessarily wicked or bad because it actually was the kind of calories that determined how much food we could eat. For example, there's 9 calories in a gram of fat, but there's only 4 calories in a gram of carbohydrates. So that meant that I could eat more of some foods than I could of others. You see, carbohydrates are energy foods for quick-burning fuel. where fat is slow burning, so it doesn't start to burn until you've been exercising at your target heart rate for at least 20 minutes. Well, I found out that no matter what I ate, I had to move. Otherwise, if I didn't, it would stay in my body.
Right.
And then I realized that the hardened grease that stayed on your fat, on the hardened fat that stayed on your plate after you ate a hamburger, was the same thing that was going inside my body, and that's what my blood looked like. So picturing that kind of that clogging at my veins made me change the way I thought about food. So I decided to make wiser choices when I cooked and when I went to the restaurant. And I made small changes. At first, nobody wants to make big changes. So I made small changes, but it made a difference. Well, after a year at the upstairs place, I was thriving. I had more energy. I could finally shop all day without being in bed the next day.
Wow.
I didn't need as much sleep. I found I truly liked some of the new foods better than the old foods. And I learned I was more patient. My children actually asked me to go to class. And stress no longer intimidated me. For the first time in my life, I felt free from daily pressures. And I looked better. I'd never been fat, but I was soft, pear-shaped, and I hated my body. I discovered there was hope for everybody if they didn't give up. And then one morning, my telephone rang. I was getting ready for class. As I listened to the voice on the other end of the receiver, I began to shake. Fear was raising its ugly head again. The voice on the other side of the line, at the other end of the line, was the owner of the aerobic studio. And she said that she understood I was a star pupil. But my aerobics teacher had just quit. Would I please take the class that morning? Oh, okay. So remember, this was the early 80s. That's when we used records.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yes, records.
Being an audiophile, I love records.
LPs and 45s. And so I had no idea what kind of records I was supposed to be. I went and listened to the music every day. I didn't know what it was. So I called my son, and he came on his way from work and helped me get the records all in order. So anyway, I couldn't keep the phone to my ear. I was shaking so hard. Me teach a class? I didn't know if I could do it. But you see, this middle-aged student was familiar with all the melodies, but not the records themselves. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. Anyway, I heard myself say yes. So, as I stood before the class and explained the dilemma of the missing instructor to my friends, the girls that I've been exercising with for over a year, I thought they would understand. I thought they would smile and say, "We know you can do it." But instead, I found a lot of embarrassed fidgeting and downcast eyes. And the truth was, they now hated me. I was their peer turned instructor, and they didn't like it one bit. In fact, they disliked me so much they told me later that they even wanted to pick up the studio. For some reason, I was bound and determined I wasn't going to give up. And I'm telling you, every morning, I felt like I was going to grow up. But I got myself pressed, and I went. Untrained, I stood before those women and led them day after day, week after week, shaking in my now dirty tennies. I didn't know how long I was going to be able to go on. And then one day a miracle happened. Joy's taken a few weeks off to get some training, said the aerobic studio owner. She told that to my frazzled class because they were probably about ready to give up on me. I think I saw a crack of a smile in their faces. I know I saw one when I came back from my class, a bona fide, certified aerobic instructor. In fact, I was in the very first class to ever be certified in the United States. That's something, isn't it? That's a long time ago.
That's really awesome.
Yeah. So, you see, I not only learned how to instruct, I learned how to yell, whoop, cajole, and encourage. This shy, shrinking Violet actually became a master at shouting orders. I became a drill sergeant in aerobic clothes.
I love it.
My family couldn't believe the change in me. Interestingly, the women who hated me when I first started ended up liking my class the best. Several months later, the aerobic studio was put up for sale, and everyone begged me to buy it. And so soon I was the proud owner of Joy's upstairs
I had no
place.
idea. I had no
Yes.
idea. That's awesome. I had no idea you owned a studio way back then.
Yes.
That's really cool.
So that was I made it an aerobic studio that was geared not only for advanced students, but for the uncoordinated as well.
That would be me.
Yes. So that was 37 years ago, and several studios have gone under the bridge since then. We moved from the desert to the mountains, and so when we did, I sold Joy's upstairs place, and I bought another place in the mountains, and I called it the Fitness Factor. It was the only fitness facility in our little mountain town at the time. I was in my 50s, and I was in the best shape of my life.
Awesome. Good for you.
I had 10 instructors. My gym was the only gym in the area. I was teaching 3 to 5 classes a day, training people on weights, doing weight loss counseling, and I loved every minute of it. 2 of those classes were seniors. I went to the Senior Citizen Center several times a week and taught, and started out with 6 seniors and ended up with over 50. But then we needed to close the Fitness Factor, because we moved to a new city. And when I moved to the new city, my life changed directions again. I began sitting at a desk every day, and I still couldn't give up aerobics, and so I taught at my church. Now, my church was big. It was 7,000 people. And so here I was, sitting all day and then teaching several days a week. And it was great. Had a lot of fun. And then we moved to Moses Lake. We moved to Moses Lake to buy the bed and breakfast. So my life changed again, because I was busy cooking and cleaning. And before I knew it, I had gained 25 pounds.
Wow.
That's probably when I met you.
That was about probably
I think that was about the
years
time
ago or so.
that I met
Yep.
you guys. Yeah, I felt awful. I started having back problems and feet problems, and that's when I found out I had a degenerative back problem, degenerative bone disease in my spine. I had plantar fasciitis. I had Achilles tendonitis. It was very painful. It was hard for me to walk.
Absolutely.
And I wasn't exercising the way that I had before. So when I went to the doctor, he said, "Joy, you know what you need to do. Just do it." So I did. And I got back in shape.
Good for you.
So 6 years ago, some of the ladies in my church knew that I had been teaching for a long time, asked me to start an aerobic class at our church. So I go to Moses Lake Christian Church on Yondazawe, and I started teaching. And I have a wonderful group of ladies. It's free. It's non-denominational. We have ladies from every church. It's lots of fun. Right now, if everybody showed up, we have at least 25 people. I am so proud of all those ladies, because they have learned how to apply what they know they should be doing.
Right.
You know, it's a great thing. They get it. I became a certified health coach a few years ago.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I decided to do that because I started looking around, and at first I thought, why does anybody need a health coach?
Right.
Then I started looking around, and I realized that it's just hard. It's hard to do it on your own. You need somebody to come alongside you, not only to teach you, but encourage you to be accountable. And so that's what I do. So I teach workshops, I teach seminars, and then I do one-on-one counseling. I do pantry makeovers. I'll meet them at the market, help them do their shopping so that they know what kind of food to eat. Anyway, I want to help women meet their goal, and that's my job. That's what I want to do.
So tell us a little bit about what you did to do a certified health coach and what a health coach does.
Okay, a health coach actually just comes alongside someone and teaches them. So when someone comes to me and says that they need help knowing what to eat, how to eat it, I can go to their house, I look in their pantry, see what they have, and help them get rid of the things that they shouldn't be having in there. And that's a hard thing because it all costs money, and you feel like you're throwing money down the drain. But it's better than going on your body. So,
absolutely.
I decided that was the best thing to do. And I've seen so many changes in people.
Yeah, right.
That's why I stay in what I'm doing. And then I decided that people need one-on-one instruction. And that's when I decided that I wanted to be a personal trainer. And so I became a certified personal trainer. And I was doing it for a while in my basement. And then I just built a new room. And so I've got a beautiful new personal training room. And it's private. And, I think a lot of women have a hard time going to a gym because they don't feel comfortable. You feel like everybody's looking at you. You don't know what you're supposed to do. And you need somebody to come alongside you and show you the correct way to do things, because it's the correct way to do things that makes a difference in your body.
Yeah.
I see so many people at gyms that don't know how to lift weights, and they do it the wrong way, and then they end up injured and not healthy.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, it's a perfect place to get fit.
That's awesome. I love that story, Joy. And one thing I love about this radio show is, I've known you and considered you a friend for, 15 plus years now. And I've learned so much at this radio show just before the show and during the show. And I appreciate you sharing that story. And that's very inspirational. I think so many people think that, life is over at 40 or 50 even. And I see someone like yourself, and it's just wonderful to hear a story like that, how you've inspired others and taken care of yourself and the like. So, so tell us about, you talk about aerobic classes.
Yeah.
And you teach kickboxing, you teach, I had no idea. And
yes.
It's wonderful. So tell us about some of the classes that you teach.
Okay. Well, I have a calendar that I put out for my ladies. We do intervals. So that's where we do aerobics, and then we intersperse it with weightlifting. We do that. We do fat burners, where it's all slow and rhythmic and weights, and it's a great class. We do regular aerobics too. We do a combination class where it's a little bit of every class that we do. Kickboxing. I do HIIT, which is high intensity interval training, and on those days, half of the class is that, and half the class is Pilates. We do boot camp, and that's fun. And so, yeah, we do all kinds of different things. And so, the thing that I learned about the body is that it's very smart, and if you do the same thing over and over and over again, pretty soon you don't see any results.
You progress, right?
You have to change, right. And you have to you have to challenge yourself. And I tell my ladies, getting fit is not easy, and it's not supposed to be easy, because anything that's worth it takes work. It just does. That's just the way that it is. Yeah. So at the bottom of my calendar, I always have some kind of an inspirational thing that's encouraging for them, that will help them realize they need to get themselves to class. And not only, I only teach the class 2 days a week, so you need more than 2 days a week, right?
Right.
So,
well, I mean, I will say, and you can reiterate this or piggyback off this, but 1 day a week is better than nothing. Doing nothing.
Of course it is.
And of course, 2 days a week is even better than that. But because I think one of the things is that we need to make sure that that anybody realizes they can exercise or be empowered to exercise, and like you say, progress. So if you're doing nothing now, even a little bit of something is better. And that little something
That's
could
exactly
be
right.
walking around the block.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and of course you
Start
know
out
these things.
slow.
Yeah,
I think every woman that isn't exercising now should start out slow. She needs to start walking first, but not just walking. Then she needs to apply what she needs to step up and do some other things. Yes, it's very important for you to know that 1 day a week or 2 days a week is helpful.
Right.
But if you really want to see results, you need to do it at least 5 days a week. And what I teach my ladies is that for every year you've been out of shape, it takes 1 month of consistent exercise 5 days a week to get results, to get where you want to be.
Wow. Think about that. I like
so
that.
So think about that.
Yeah. So if you haven't been out of shape for 10 years.
Right. 10 months.
Yeah.
Well, that's less than a year.
Yeah.
Think about it. And every day, and I also teach them that it's fitness is like a necklace. So each day is like a link in the chain. If you keep breaking that chain, it's not going to be very long and beautiful, is it?
Right.
But if the link from the day before hooks onto the next link, you've got a long, beautiful life.
Right, right. So what are, like most of your classes, you teach classes on what days usually?
Mondays and Thursdays, 10:30 to 11:30.
10:30 to 11:30.
They're free.
And that's where at?
That's at Moses Lake Christian Church on Yonezawa.
On Yonezawa. And how long are those classes?
It's an hour.
An hour.
So from 10:30 to 11:30, I'm on time. So they know. And what I tell my ladies is, because we all live busy lives, we all have difficult things, stresses and strains that are in our lives, things we're going through. When you walk in the door, you leave your problems outside. So you're in here. This is your hour to get yourself healthy and fit.
Yeah.
And because nothing's worse than not zeroing in on what you're doing.
Right. And I think exercise is the best medicine ever and underprescribed. And you're not just, I think you did allude to it earlier, but it's not just the physical benefits we get from it, but mental benefits.
Oh, exactly.
I mean, it is just amazing. Exercise is the best antidepressant ever.
Yes, it is.
It's really,
our bodies can heal themselves because we give ourselves diseases.
Right. Yeah, right. Exactly. And so speaking of healing ourselves, so do you have any good story about somebody that's healed themselves?
Many stories.
Right.
Yeah, I have many stories. Yes.
Share the most powerful one that you can think of on top of your head.
Well, I can tell you several of them, actually. When I was teaching at the Senior Citizen Center, this little lady that had been a nurse, and then when she retired, she told me she became a couch potato, and she just could not get up off the couch. And so she not only gained weight, but she didn't have any energy, and she drug herself into first class. She could barely move. And so I encouraged her. After she'd been coming like 6 weeks, she was running in. And she said, I can't believe the difference. And then I made this little video, and I used her in my video. And so she's, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
So many people said, Joy, my hips hurt, my legs hurt, but they don't hurt anymore.
Yeah.
And surprising.
Yeah, and it's not just chronic, I guess that's chronic disease too, but it's not just the more obvious ones like, high cholesterol, hypertension, cardiovascular disease is the number one killer of men and women in this country.
Yes.
So being a healthy weight helps prevent that.
Huge.
Diabetes, things like that. But like you said, you would think that some people would intuitively think, well, exercise is going to make my knees hurt worse, or my ankles hurt worse, or my shoulders hurt worse. And in reality, if you're shown how to do it properly,
that's right.
Those pains go away.
Well, myself is a good example because I had degenerative bone disease in my spine, but that was 10 years ago that I found that out. And look, my back doesn't. I have an occasional twinge.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. We're alive.
Yeah, right. We have a heartbeat, right?
Yes, exactly. But you know what? I don't hurt like I did. I can move and do the things that I want to do. And I couldn't have done that if I'd not gotten back in shape.
So what do you say to women? Is there a certain age to start? Is there a certain age You should.
It's never too early and it's never too late. I have a friend who started at age 70, and if she got down on the floor, she couldn't get back up. And it wasn't very long until after she'd come to my classes a few months, she can get up off the floor now without having to crawl over to the couch and push herself up. She can, her legs have muscles.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So we talked about we talked a lot about exercise so far. So tell me a little bit about diet, and we talked a little bit about it, but expand on that a little bit about how your personal coaching can help people with diet. Because I think sometimes we take things for granted. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, actually, what I tell people is, if it comes in a box, you don't need to eat it. Fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, grains, and just good food that God made. Organic, if you can get it, is the best. And I know it's more expensive, it is, but there's a lot of ways that you can eat, and it's not that expensive.
Well, I mean, I think
Well, think of it this way: wouldn't you rather put it in your body for health rather than spend it on the doctors later on?
Right.
So you're going to be spending your money somewhere.
Right. That's what Janet likes to say. Janet says,
right.
Pay now or pay later.
Right. Exactly.
That's the reality. And here's reality anyway. Also is honestly fresh food. I think about my brother who was at my house a few weeks ago. He's got two boys. He had two of his boys over, and I have two boys. My two boys had two friends over, and we ate a dozen eggs and a thing of sausage that we had bought. And I think we figured it out. All of us, it was like $6.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
Because you buy eggs by the 60 at a time. They're pretty inexpensive.
They are. That's
but
exactly right.
If every single one of those kids had boxed cereal,
mm-hmm.
I guarantee you because they probably would have ate 3 or 4 bowls at least before they were full.
Yes.
And we probably would have spent, I'll bet you, $40 to $50 because a box of cereal is $5.
Yes. And here's what I tell my people. Alzheimer's begins in childhood. The way children begin to eat when they're little starts there. So if they're eating sugar, because sugar is one of the worst things that we can eat. And I know it's addicting. It's very addicting. It's 9 times more addicting than cocaine. Did you know that?
I've heard a study of that. Yeah.
And we all like sugar. We all love sugar. Yeah. It isn't that we don't like it. It's just not good for us, and it does bad things for our brains. So
expand a little bit on the sugar. So how do you talk about fruits? Talk about eating fruits. So fruits are sugar, right?
They are sugar, but it's a different thing because it goes in. It keeps your blood level.
Yeah.
Where simple sugars, it spikes it, and it makes you get that little sugar high, but then it plummets you down, and then you feel horrible, and then you want more, and it's just an up and down cycle.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things too is when you eat a real fruit, even if there is simple sugars there's also like an apple.
It's nutritious,
and it's got fiber. So
mm-hmm.
I think that fiber takes it and makes it so the sugar doesn't absorb as fast.
Exactly.
And it makes you full.
That's right. That's why it keeps your blood level.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And like you say, stay away from the things out of the box, and it'll be better.
Mm-hmm.
Better for your body. I like to say another tip is I give patients is if it doesn't rot, don't eat it. Right. And this kind of.
Of course, you want to eat it before it rots.
Yeah, right. Of course, right. But I mean, if you think about it, what makes food rot? Well, bacteria and mold first of all grow on it and make it rotten. And if bacteria and mold won't eat it, think about that. Think about what. Are we even doing? Are we assimilating those nutrients in our body at all?
Right.
Is it good at all for us?
That's right. Yes.
Right.
Read the ingredients. If you're going to eat something in a box, turn it around and read the ingredients because a lot of times on the front it says it's healthy.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, very true.
They feed us lies.
Yeah.
And so you have to turn it around and look at the other side.
So we've talked about exercise. We've talked a little bit about diet.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about the third thing I believe to stay healthy, and that's rest and recovery.
Yes.
Tell me what your thoughts are about that.
Yes. Good sleep is the most important thing. And it needs to be quality sleep because our body, cycles. That's when our body repairs itself. And if you're not sleeping well, it's not a good thing. We all know it's not a good thing. We all need 6 to 8 hours of sleep a night.
Right.
And so if you don't get that, your body doesn't get to repair itself.
Well, I think that's what people forget. People think they get stronger when they exercise, but that's just not the case. You get stronger when you rest and recover.
That's right.
So if you're not resting and recovering, then you're not going to get stronger. In fact, you could argue you're going to get weaker. Your body's going to lose weight.
That's right.
Talk a little bit about, when I talk about recovery and stress, talk a little bit about, I don't know if you prepare your clients to talk about stress and mental stress at all. And
I just wrote this in this February thing. It's on stress and what it does to our hearts because February is Heart Health Month.
That's right.
And so stress stresses our heart. Does bad things to our heart. Every part of our body, but it shows in every area of our life. It shows in our continence, our countenance. I mean, the way we think, the way we act.
Right.
Every part of us. Stress is a very bad thing. That's why exercise is so good because it relieves stress.
Yep.
You can come into class and feel, on the days that you don't feel like exercising, those are the days you should exercise because when you get done, you feel so much better.
Do you have any thoughts on if it's better to exercise in the morning or exercise at night, evening?
I know a lot of people that get right up out of bed and exercise. I don't know if that's the greatest for you because you've been laying down and just getting up, but I think morning is probably the best time. Everybody's fresher.
Yeah, I agree. It's easier. I can tell you from personal experience that it's easier the later you let the exercise go and put it off, the easier it is to not do it.
You're absolutely right.
So that's why I do sometimes promote if getting up before you're interrupted by the rest of the day, if getting up a little bit early and exercising is that's the only way you can do it. I definitely promote that. I don't think it's the strongest time necessarily. First thing in the morning, kind of like what you're talking about. But it's definitely better.
But soon after, yes.
Yeah, definitely better than putting it off all day long.
Yes, I totally agree.
So you were telling me that you have, so you built a gym at your house.
I did.
You turned your shop into a gym, which is wonderful. I've got to go over there to see it.
Yes,
sometime.
you need to come see it.
And you've got a beautiful house, by the way. You used to be a bed and breakfast,
yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So beautiful house. You used to catering, I guess you could say, in that house, right?
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about what your thought is a little bit about this weekend getaway thing with women. And, I love this idea. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes. Well, I decided that I would like to use this house because we closed the bed and breakfast a few years ago. I'd like to use the house for ladies to come for 2 nights to get healthy and fit. And I want to call it healthy and fit weekend. During that time, we would work out in my new gym. We would do healthy cooking class. We would eat healthy, of course. Do workshops. Spend some time on health and fitness and making them realize that they can make those changes. And then I want to send them away with all the tools to change their lives because it's a jump start. They need to get started, and it's hard. It's hard, no matter how old you are. It's hard if you haven't been doing it.
Absolutely, and it's all about educating and empowering people and realize that they can control their own health. It really is up to them to control their own health. So,
it's our will.
Yeah, that's right, and I'm so glad that they have that somebody out there like you that can be a good example and educate and empower women to go through the same journey that you.
Well, I believe what I teach.
Yeah.
And I live what I teach.
I love it.
And I don't think it could be any other way, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's right. Right. And so, be part of the show, you guys. If you have any questions, quick questions for Joy, 509-765-1470. We'd love to hear you. So, Joy, these last 2 minutes as we wrap up, tell us what you like to wrap the show up with. Okay. I guess we have 5 minutes. I told we have 5 total minutes. So, since we started late, I think. So, So go ahead and tell us your parting words and how we can get a hold of you.
Okay. Well, in my 76 years, I've learned a lot of things. First, I learned you need to be tenacious and not give up, because it's so easy to give up.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be tenacious. And if you don't exercise, you should start slow, walking, you know, but hang in there. Our bodies are small. You've already said that. You need to do different things all the time, but challenge yourself. It's important to challenge yourselves. Get educated on how to take care of your body. You need to know how to do it. Also, our brain's a carbo hog, so you know, we want to eat the right carbs, the good oils, the avocados, the olive, nut oil, you know, things like that.
Fish oil, fish
foods
oils.
God made. And don't put bad things into our bodies. You know, find a buddy to be accountable to. I think that's really important. Work out 5 to 6 days a week. And do a combination of aerobics and strength training, because in my classes I use balls, I use weights, I use rubber bands. And rubber bands sounds like it's not hard, but it's hard.
I use my coach prescribes resistance bands, and I will tell you,
they're
it
hard.
can give you a great workout. Yes.
I was a guest coach one time at a gym, and I had the little rubber bands, and our class was doing it. Well, some of the bodybuilders looked into our class, and they said, those women, they don't know what they're doing. So my husband was there. He said, come in and join them. He gave them each a rubber band. They could not keep up with us.
I could totally see Steve doing that.
Oh, yes. Yes.
He had a big smile.
Uh-huh. Oh, yes. And another thing, we women are fearless, and when we band together, we're unstoppable.
That's right. That's
you
right.
know,
that's awesome.
And that's why I'm here, because I believe in helping women.
That's awesome. You've been a wonderful guest, Joy. I admire you so much, and I'm so glad you've inspired so many. So Joy is not ready for this. I'm going to really surprise her, but I did talk to her about before the show. If you notice, since you're on video, Joy, her lipstick matches her shirt. Go show the camera your fingernails. Matches her fingernails. Her lipstick matches her fingernails, matches her shirt. That's a lady right there. And she's so fit and healthy and eats well. I mean, that's awesome. So inspiring others. So I really appreciate you being on our show today, Joy. Do you have any final words you'd like to say about joining the classes?
Somebody wants to call me.
Yep.
They can call me. My number is 509-771-2296, and they can get a hold of me that way.
Okay, and that's for personal training, personal coaching.
Yes, for anything. Yes.
Your days you're going to have at your house.
Yes.
What about the 2 days you teach? Did you teach class? Go over that again. 2 days you teach free classes.
Monday and Thursday at 10:30 to 11:30 at Moses Lake Christian Church on Llanos Ole.
Okay, and is there a way they can get a schedule of that, so they know kickboxing or aerobics or?
Yes, I hand those out when if they get a hold of me. If they come to the first class, they'll get a calendar, and that'll tell everything about the class and everything.
And what about social media, Joy? Are you on social media? Do you have
I have a Facebook page.
Joy Howard on Facebook.
It's Turn Back Time with Joy.
Turn Back Time with Joy. So like Joy's Facebook page, follow it, share it.
Please do.
Tell your friends. This is a wonderful, wonderful way to get the message out about what you're doing, Joy. I so appreciate it. So that looks like it wraps up another show of Health Solutions with Shawn and Janet Needham. Thank you for being here, our first show in February this year, and thank you for being on, Joy. We will talk to you guys Monday. Health Solutions with Shawn and Janet Needham. See you Monday.
You're listening to the Columbia Basin's first choice for news and information. AM 1470 KBSN Moses Lake.
From ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. The impeachment trial concluded for the day. Both sides began closing arguments. House Manager Adam Schiff urging Republican senators to convict President Trump or be tied to him with a cord of steel for all of history.
I do not ask you to convict him because truth or right or decency matters nothing to him, but because we have proven our case and it matters to you.
The president's lawyer, Jay Sekulow, saying Mr. Trump did nothing impeachable.
The assertion of valid constitutional privileges cannot be an impeachable offense. And that's what Article 2 is based on. The obstruction of Congress.
The big headline coming out of the president's lawyers, we've heard this from the president since September, he did nothing wrong, and that anybody who testified against him in the House process just doesn't like him and doesn't like his policies, and that this bottom line boils down to policy differences, and he's the president, and he can make whatever policy he wants.
ABC White House correspondent Karen Travers. Just hours to go until the Iowa caucuses.
So up from Drive is a walk.
Dylan has been working this neighborhood for months, knocking on doors and leaving literature from the Bernie Sanders campaign.
Is it tough talking politics with your neighbors? No. I mean, my neighbor, has got an Amy sign right there, and we were just talking yesterday on the street, and it's fine.
Today, only a handful of people answered their doors. Many were at work or school.
Caucus days today, and I gotta go head back to where I just headed back to work.
Many residents already have literature from other candidates also left at their front door. Dylan says by tomorrow, it'll all be over. Ryan Burrow, ABC News, Cedar Rapids.
The number of confirmed coronavirus cases in the U.S. are now 11.
New confirmed cases of the coronavirus in America. A husband and wife in San Benito County, California, contracting the virus. The husband had been to Wuhan, China. The wife had not. Neither one has left their home.
ABC's Giovanni Tez. The worldwide death toll from corona has reached 361. You're listening to ABC News.
Here is some great news. If you missed the deadline to sign up for health insurance, or if you sign up for a plan that you're just not happy with, you still have a choice. It's called MediShare. It's the affordable alternative to health insurance. And it's worked beautifully for 25 years. They have more than 400,000 members now around the country. MediShare is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry, and over the years, members have shared over $3 billion of each other's medical bills, so they could help share your needs too. And best of all, you could save a lot of money with MediShare. The typical savings for a family is about $500 a month. Your savings could be more or less, but think about what you could do with that extra money every month. You're not stuck with a high-cost health plan. You can join MediShare anytime, so call them today and check it out. Here's the number to find out more, and there's no pressure. They're super easy to talk to. Call 877-26-BIBLE. That's 877-26-BIBLE. 877-26-BIBLE.
The audience for yesterday's Super Bowl is up from last year.
Chiefs are Super Bowl champions. 99.9 million total viewers watched the Kansas City Chiefs beat the San Francisco 49ers to win the Super Bowl Sunday night on Fox. That's up a tiny bit from last year when 98.2 million watched the Patriots beat the Rams. It's the first time in 5 years ratings for the big game went up, and when you add in Fox Deportes, NFL, and Verizon digital properties, the number climbs to 102 million. But that's second to the halftime show. 103 million tuned in specifically to see Jennifer Lopez and Shakira, up 4% from Maroon 5 last year. Jason Nathanson, ABC News, Hollywood.
A Missouri woman, a Chiefs fan, may be able to cash in on an old Chiefs loss. Shawn owns a pair of used tickets to the game now known as the first Super Bowl, where the Green Bay Packers beat the Chiefs. They're being put up for auction in May and could go for at least $50,000. Memorabilia experts say they've only seen about 5 other pairs of unused Super Bowl tickets. Egypt may be home to the world's largest residential building. Reports indicate that builders are clearing a massive plot of land to house up to 30,000 people near Cairo.